My name is Claire Palmerino, and I'll be the platform assistant this morning, assisting Reverend Jerry Farrell. And I'm so pleased to welcome you here this morning, to welcome those of you in the sanctuary and those of you on YouTube. And if you would take a moment to be sure your cell phones are turned off, that would be appreciated. Is there anyone here for the very first time? If you'd just raise your hand. We've got a couple over here. Anybody else here for the first time? Our chaplain, Christy Stevens, has a little packet of information for you that we'd love to give you. And we're so pleased that you joined us this morning. As someone who used to be a platform assistant, he's now moved away. I'm blanking on his name, but he used to say, Rob used to say that we're all instruments in the orchestra, and if you're not here, we're missing your note. So as always, we begin our service with the lighting of the Christ candle.
If we could have some silence, please.
In the beginning was the one presence of the undivided and unmanifest, pure spirit of life, light, and love. In its generosity, it shared itself, its consciousness, and its love in the visible form of creation. We acknowledge this presence within us and as us, the creative energy of the divine feminine and masculine, expressing in all our giftedness and creativity. We acknowledge this presence in our companion Mother Earth and in all sentient beings. This universal presence in everything we call the Christ. We light this candle as a visible reminder of that Christ presence expressing in, as, and through us in this present now moment. It is the truth. Let us own it. And now our opening song, I'm very excited. This is a brand new song for us. And our angels, Gabriel and Angela, are rocking it. And, and I invite you to stand and rock it with us.
Can't help it, God makes me wanna sing. Woo-hoo. Can't help it, God makes me wanna sing. Makes me feel so good, I can do most anything.
Let's do the verse again, the chorus again.
God makes me wanna sing. I can't help it, God makes me wanna sing. Makes me feel so good, I can do most anything. I am loving every living thing. I can see the face of God in paupers and kings. We're all precious, no one less or more. We've all got the same treasures in store. That's why I'm loving every living thing. Woo-hoo. I can't help it, God makes me wanna sing. I can't help it, God makes me wanna sing.
And dance.
Makes me feel so good, I can do most anything. I believe in my guiding lights.
No matter what.
Turns out right, oh yeah.
Just dig down
how I feel. Just take a deep breath and grab the wheel. That's why I'm believing in my guided life.
Oh yeah.
I can't help it. God makes me wanna sing. I can't help it. God makes me wanna sing.
Makes me
Feel so good I can do most anything. I am rising to my higher place, with the wind in my back and a smile upon my face. Oh yeah, live my dream a little more each day. It keeps getting easier to find my way. So I am rising to my higher place.
Oh
I
yeah.
can't help it. God makes me wanna sing. I can't help it. God makes me wanna sing. Makes me feel so good I can do most anything. I can't help it. God makes me wanna sing. I can't help it. God makes me wanna sing. Makes me feel so good I can do most anything.
All right. Well, welcome everybody. For those who may not know me, I'm Reverend Jerry, the lead minister. Because we're all ministers here at Unity in the Gold Country, ministers of the light of life and love. And that song has got us into that mood this morning. And so I want to start with something special today. Today we're focusing on the relationship between science and religion, science and spirituality, which, people try to make out that these two things are incompatible, and they're not. And so we're going to watch, as the invocation, a very brief little video that Carl Sagan made. He was an American astronomer. I'm sure most of you know him. Planetary scientist, cosmologist, astrophysicist, and science communicator. And one of the things that he focused on was extraterrestrial life. And he sent messages out into space in the hope that someday someone would pick that up and respond. And so when NASA was sending one of its ships out from the Earth, he said he wanted them to look back and to take a video of the Earth just floating there in space. And you have to realize we're the first generation who got to see this photo, this video of the Earth. People, grandparents, great-grandparents didn't get to see this. So it changed our understanding of things. And so he wrote a commentary then to go with that video. So this is what we're going to listen and watch as our invocation. If we can turn down the lights, please.
That's here. That's home. That's us. On it, everyone you love, everyone you know, everyone you ever heard of, every human being who ever was, lived out their lives. The aggregate of our joy and suffering, thousands of confident religions, ideologies, and economic doctrines, every hunter and forager, every hero and coward, every creator and destroyer of civilization, every king and peasant, every young couple in love, every mother and father, hopeful child, inventor and explorer, every teacher of morals, every corrupt politician, every superstar, every supreme leader, every saint and sinner in the history of our species lived there, on a mote of dust, suspended in a sunbeam. The Earth is a very small stage in a vast cosmic arena. Think of the rivers of blood spilled by all those generals and emperors, so that in glory and triumph they could become the momentary masters of a fraction of a dot. Think of the endless cruelties visited by the inhabitants of one corner of this pixel on the scarcely distinguishable inhabitants of some other corner. How frequent their misunderstandings, how eager they are to kill one another, how fervent their hatreds. Our posturings, our imagined self-importance, the delusion that we have some privileged position in the universe are challenged by this point of pale light. Our planet is a lonely speck in the great enveloping cosmic dark. In our obscurity, in all this vastness, there is no hint that help will come from elsewhere to save us from ourselves. The Earth is the only world known so far to harbor life. There is nowhere else, at least in the near future, to which our species could migrate. Visit? Yes. Settle? Not yet. Like it or not, for the moment, the Earth is where we make our stand. It has been said that astronomy is a humbling and character-building experience. There is perhaps no better demonstration of the folly of human conceits than this distant image. To me, it underscores our responsibility to deal more kindly with one another and to preserve and cherish the pale blue dot, the only home we've ever known.
If we could have the lights back on, please. Thanks. We can thank Sydney Grimsby for this. She sent it to me there about a week ago. And of course, it's always the perfect thing. And so it reminds us really of our oneness and of our responsibility to each other. And so that's where we start again this morning with this understanding of responsibility to each other. And that's why we pray together for each other. You may hear in my voice a little something, so I'm going to start by asking you to pray for me and to send me some healing energy this morning for whatever it is that I have. It's not COVID, I've tested. That's the new standard, I guess. We have to say, it's not COVID, I've tested. But I would appreciate your healing thoughts and energy right now. Thank you. And we pray also then for all those on our prayer list this morning. And we start with an addition for Caroline Holman, who will be having some surgery in about 10 days. For Kieran Wyeth, for Fox Schlatt, Joe Grandinelli, Walt Watson, Sharon Watson, Mary Hughes, Judy Palmer, Louis Kuntz, Danielle White, Judy Palmer, Kay and Larry Bancroft, Nicole, Ryan and Carol, Vicky Calhoun, Jim Jones, Darlene Moberg, Susan Healy Harmon, Caroline Ellis, Bodie and Trevor Kozeris, Theo Schutz, Bo Dorenzo and his family, Aidan Towsley, Marty Bishop, for the passing of Stephanie Faison and the Sloan and Faison families, for the passing of Phyllis Brody and her family and friends. And of course, this morning we open our hearts in prayer and send love and healing energy to all those affected by the earthquakes in Turkey and Syria, and for all those suffering anywhere and everywhere. We hold them all in prayer. For who else would you like to pray at this time? Please say their names out loud. And we pray. There is only one presence and one power, active as the universe and as our lives, the all-loving goodness of God. and all is well. So we listen now to the daily word for today.
The daily word for today is compassion. Acts of loving compassion build my strength. Whether in my community or across the world, many people face hardships. As a member of the human family, I am inspired to undertake compassionate action and help however I can. Sometimes just a prayerful thought or simple blessing can make a powerful difference in someone's life. Other times, I may be able to take more direct action. I may listen to someone deeply as they share the concerns of their heart, or I may volunteer to drive them somewhere or complete errands for them. Regardless of the form my compassionate action takes, I am motivated to be of sacred service, to bring the love and care of God into manifest form through my decisive action. From Matthew 14:14, when he went ashore, he saw a great crowd, and he had compassion for them and cured their sick. We built a powerful energy with that first song, and that was an ecstatic, excited energy. And now we come to our time of meditation where we build another kind of energy, a calming, soothing energy. I am going to confess something. I usually have my meditations written out, and this morning I was given a clear answer: no, you're to freeform it. So I'm a little nervous, but I'm very curious to see where this is going to go. So let us join our hearts and minds in meditation. I welcome you to close your eyes and settle into your seat. And let us bring a community, an energetic community unity by taking 3 long, deep breaths together. Here we go. Let us inhale and exhale. And inhale. And exhale. And inhale. And exhale. Why are we here? Why are we here in this life at this moment in history? Why have we come? We have come to bring the higher self into form. Take a pause and invite your higher self into your body. You may feel tingling in the body. You may feel heat or cold. Become aware of the bodily sensations. And let your awareness come into the heart center. Invite that heart center, the holder of the divine spark, the divine flame that is you, to stir and to brighten and to grow. We invite our divine spark to fill the chest, and with each in-breath to expand even more. Until it fills the entire body. And when you're ready, become aware of a white light in front of you. This white light is a divine presence, and it moves through you and surrounds you and fills you. The divine spark within, the light from that divine spark merges with the light that has come to you. And in that merging is an attunement. As an instrument is attuned or tuned up by a tuning fork, our divine spark easily and naturally resonates with the divine presence that is always around us. Sometimes things get in the way. But when we are conscious and have a clear intention, that attunement takes place so easily, clearing us, healing us, bringing us into wholeness, the wholeness that is already there. Now I invite you to ask your heart, what am I feeling right now? In any one moment, we can feel many things. And some of the things we feel we welcome, and some of the things we feel we wish to push away because they're uncomfortable. They're not bad, but uncomfortable. What feelings are you tempted to push away? Is it sadness? Or sorrow? Is it depression? Frustration? Resentment? Fear? Allow your heart to show you, and do not be afraid to see what it is you have turned away from. I invite you to place this feeling on the altar of your heart. May the divine light within you purify this feeling, transmuting it and transforming it into the gift we trust it brings. For every death brings a birth. Every loss creates space for the new. Trust that you are held, that you are loved. You are inherently, naturally loving and lovable. And while we're in this beautiful space, let us energetically gather around Jerry and extend healing, light, and love from our heart space to him, that he may feel refreshed and replenished and tuned up. Your higher self says, "Behold, I make all things new." May we have the eyes to see what's coming that's new. And we'll take this sweet energy of meditation into the next song, It's a Wonderful World. You may join along or simply stay in that still space.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Oh, yeah.
So today is a celebration of science and religion spirituality. And, you know, science has expressed itself in different ways. And I think in one sense, mythology is science. It's just a different kind of science. And I think one of the astounding things, if you read the creation story in the Bible, in Genesis 1, that story is really mind-blowing because it is saying what quantum physicists are saying today. This piece of literature was written almost 2000 BC. And it says that the planets and the sun and the moon weren't created until the third day, I think it is. And that light preceded the sun. How did someone 2000 BC know that? Wasn't it common knowledge that the sun produced the light? There are lots of curious things like that in the Bible, and that's why I really encourage you to read those with an open mind. And today we look at our story because our story defines our present experience as well as our future experiences and possibilities. Now we know that our story defines our past. We're very used to that because we're continually revisiting that story and we're always editing it. And I don't know if you know this, but you're always trying to resolve your story. If you talk to a therapist, they will tell you that that's what you're doing. You're trying to come to a positive conclusion to your story in this moment. That's all that therapy is trying to do. Our story begins long, long ago, before we were even on the planet. And it begins in our cosmology. And you may say, what's that? Or you may say, I have no clue. But you have a cosmology whether you realize it or not. You have a structure in your mind about how things work and how things came into being. And our story is in relation to the universe. It's not just my little story. I mean, we know that. We come from parents, we come from families, from nations, from species, from a planet. We can get that sense of the layers of our story, and yet it's easy for us just to focus on our own little dot, isn't it? Just as the planet is a little dot out there in space. So our story is not told in isolation, either as a species or even individually. And that story is that we are the product of a living essence, an intelligent essence, deeply connected not just to ourselves, but with each other and the earth around us, as well as beyond the earth and out into the cosmos. And for most of humanity's history, that has been the common understanding of ourselves until the advent of modern science. So over the past 300 to 500 years or so, traditional science began to change that story, that narrative. And science threw out the idea of, or the usefulness of mythology, and in its place, we were taught that the universe is dead. Everything is separate from everything. And that it's the result of random processes, or lucky physics, where the conditions just happen to occur in the right way at the right time for life to take form. How things are, who we are, subsequently, is just the result of random mutations of genetics. This story of the universe as an accident has deep implications for us if we believe it. Like the earth is there just for us to exploit it, to dominate it, and other species and other people, to excavate and harness its resources for our needs. And of course that leads us then into competition with others. And it leads to a lack of respect for the natural world, and indeed for humans or other species. It affects our ideas around space exploration even. Let's go to the moon or Mars so as to harness the minerals there. Oh, there's a comet coming through. Let's send a spacecraft and mine it. Let's trash this planet and then look around and see where else we can go, and we'll trash that one too and move on to the next one. Everything just becomes utilitarian. How can we use it? And it has no purpose really beyond that, and no sacredness of its own. You see, our science tells us the how of things, but it desperately needs to have the why of things also, to go along with the how. And in a sense, if there is a clash between the two, it's around the how and the why. And mythology gave us that in the past. And so let's take a look at one such origin story You can call it science, a different type of science, that comes from the Native American tradition. And it's a reminder of the why of things. And so this story obviously is found in lots of places. I just happened to read it recently in Braiding Sweetgrass, which is a beautiful book if you want to read a poetic book by a scientist, a Native Indian poet. And it's the story of the sky woman falling. In winter, when the green earth lies resting beneath a blanket of snow, this is the time for storytelling. The storytellers begin by calling upon those who came before, who passed the stories down to us. So we can imagine right now, in the empty seats around you, the local storytellers who told their origin stories, and maybe this one. And then all of our own storytellers from our own countries and traditions. They all passed on this knowledge, and it's there somewhere within us. So we welcome the storytellers among us this morning. In the beginning, there was the sky world. She fell like a maple seed pirouetting on an autumn breeze, a column of light streaming from a hole in the sky world, marking her path where only darkness had been before. It took her a long time to fall. In fear, or maybe hope, she clutched a bundle tightly in her hand. Hurtling downward, she saw only dark water below. But in that emptiness, there were many eyes gazing up at the sudden shaft of light. They saw there a small object, a mere dust mote in the beam. And as it grew close, they could see that it was a woman, arms outstretched, long black hair billowing behind as she spiraled toward them. The geese nodded at one another and rose together from the water in a wave of goose music. She felt the beat of their wings as they flew beneath her to break her fall. Far from the only home she'd ever known, she caught her breath as the warm embrace of soft feathers gently carried her downward. And so it began. The geese could not hold the woman above the water for much longer, so they called a council to decide what to do. Resting on their wings, she saw them all gather, loons, otters, swans, beavers, fish of all kinds. A great turtle floated in their midst and offered his back for her to rest upon. Gratefully, she stepped from the goose wings onto the dome of the shell. The others understood that she needed land for her home and discussed how they might serve her best. The deep divers among them had heard of mud at the bottom of the water and agreed to go find some. Loon dove first, but the distance was too far, and after a long while he surfaced with nothing to show for his efforts. One by one the other animals offered to help. Otter, beaver, sturgeon, but the depth, the darkness, and the pressures were too great for even the strongest of their swimmers. They returned gasping for air with their heads ringing. Some did not return at all. Soon only little Muskrat was left, the weakest diver of all. He volunteered to go while the others looked on doubtfully. His small legs flailed as he worked his way downward, and he was gone a very long time. They waited and waited and waited for his return, fearing the worst for their relative. Before long, a stream of bubbles rose with the small, limp body of the muskrat. He had given his life to aid this helpless human. But when the others noticed that his paw was tightly clenched, and when they opened it, they saw there was a small handful of mud. Turtle said, "Here, put it on my back, and I will hold it." Sky Woman bent and spread the mud with her hands across the shell of the turtle. Moved by the extraordinary gifts of the animals, she sang in thanksgiving and then began to dance, her feet caressing the earth. The land grew and grew as she danced her thanks from the dab of mud on Turtle's back until the whole earth was made, not by Sky Woman alone, but from the alchemy of all the animals' gifts coupled with her deep gratitude. Together they formed what we know today as Turtle Island, our home. Like any good guest, Sky Woman had not come empty-handed. The bundle was still clutched in her hand. When she toppled from the hole in the sky world, she had reached out to grab onto the tree of life that grew there. In her grasp were branches, fruits, and seeds of all kinds of plants. These she scattered onto the new ground and carefully tended each one until the world turned from brown to green. Sunlight streamed through the hole from the sky world, allowing the seeds to all flourish. Wild grasses, flowers, trees, and medicines spread everywhere, and now that the animals too had plenty to eat, many came to live with her on Turtle Island. So this is the end of the story, but there is a commentary. Our stories say that of all the plants, wingask, or sweetgrass, was the very first to grow on the earth, its fragrance a sweet memory of Sky Woman's hand. Accordingly, it is honored as one of the 4 sacred plants of my people. Breathe in its scent and you start to remember things you didn't know you'd forgotten. Our elders say that ceremonies are a way that we remember to remember. And so sweetgrass is a powerful ceremonial plant cherished by many indigenous nations. It's also used to make beautiful baskets, both medicine and a relative. Its value is both material and spiritual. There is such tenderness in braiding the hair of someone you love. Kindness and something more flow between the braider and the braided, the two connected by the cord of the plait. Wingashk waves in strands long and shining like a woman's freshly washed hair. And so we say it is the flowering hair of Mother Earth. When we braid sweetgrass, we are braiding the hair of Mother Earth, showing her our loving attention, our care for her beauty as well as well-being, in gratitude for all that she has given us. Children, hearing the Sky Woman's story from birth, know in their bones the responsibility that flows between humans and the earth. The story of Sky Woman's journey is so rich and glittering, it feels to me like a deep bowl of celestial blue from which I could drink again and again. It holds our beliefs, our history, our relationships. And looking into that starry bowl, I see images swirling so fluidly that the past and the present become one. Images of Sky Woman speak not just of where we have come from, but of how we can go forward. And so we need to be aware of the cosmic story the story that we tell, because it becomes the narrative that informs our story now. If we are only the product of an accident of physics or biology, then human life has no specialness, no sacredness, not to mention the earth, the planet, the cosmos. Human life is ours to exploit and dominate, ours to give and ours to take. It's important that we write a new science, because this is how we write a new and more complete story, which tells not just the how, but the why of things. That is of even more importance. And in so doing, we allow the cosmos to write a new story of us and for us, that tells the whole story of our specialness and our sacredness, as well as that of the planet, Mother Earth, all species, and the cosmos itself. I want to end with a quote from William Bragg, Nobel Prize winner for physics in 1915. He said, "Christianity," and you can add in religion, "and science are opposed, but only in the same sense as that which my thumb and forefinger are opposed. And between them, I can grasp everything." So we come to the part of our service when, once again, we know that we are source. We source everything and anything in our lives as creator, co-creator. And so aware now of our prosperity and abundance, we continue its flow in blessing each one here and the work that we do beyond these walls. And so we pray. Prosperity flows to us and through us in unending streams of plenty. The inexhaustible resource of spirit is equal to every demand. Indeed, the universe is listening and responding all the time. And now we have another contribution from Angela and Gabriel.
One step, one act, it's a simple fact. We can be the change. Don't have to do it all, no steps too small. We can be the change, be the change. We can be the change, be the change. We can be the change. When it calls to you and it's yours to do, we can be the change. Of
bless these gifts in our hearts, and now we dedicate them to the work of unity here and worldwide. Thank you, God. Amen. So we have some announcements as always, and the first is that Karen Drucker is coming to town, so to speak, and she's going to be doing a retreat at Ananda in April, Friday evening through Sunday morning. And I had the opportunity to go on her website the other day because I was looking for some music and digital copies of her songs. And it said that she had all of it available now for a special deal. And I thought, well, isn't that synchronistic? And I thought, yeah, it's going to cost quite a bit, though. So I emailed her to the office, and then she replied back herself and said, since it's Valentine's Day, I'm going to give you all a Valentine gift for free. So she gifted us all of her songbooks and all of her digital songs. And then, of course, she said we should, plan on something. And then the next day it dawned on me, well, if she's coming up here, why don't we get her here? So she's coming on the Thursday evening, April 27th. So please mark your calendars, because she is amazing, and she's got a friend with her, Gary, somebody, I don't know him. Gary Lynn Floyd. So, yeah, if you haven't ever been to one of her concerts, it's a treat. And I mean, in comparison to what you'd pay for the Centre of the Arts, it's a steal. So we will be talking to you more about that. I'm hoping that you'll buy tickets, and my idea is that you will invite people that don't come to Unity to come, because music is a doorway. I shared Karen Drucker music with my friend in Hawaii, and that's actually how all of this came about. And she was blown away by the songs. She's like, who is this, and what kind of, spirituality is this? She'd never heard songs like that. So this is an opportunity for us to invite people from the community, get them interested in New Thought, and then perhaps they'll want to join us. No, they will want to join us. All right. And so we have our ongoing project, which is our directory, a digital directory. And we have already taken photographs of some of you, but Carly and Drew will be available out front where the mural is in the hallway. So if you can stop by, they will take your photograph for the directory. Or those of you at home, if you can send us in a digital image, or you can come and Leslie will take your photograph during the week. So we're going to build up our directory once again. If you haven't been to the website, unitygold.us, then I would encourage you to go on there and see all the changes that are happening on there. We now have our new members application on there, so you can fill it out and send it in. So I encourage you to do that as well. We will be having a new members class again the Saturday of Easter. We'll welcome new members on Easter Sunday. If you want to receive the bulletin, you can sign up. The e-bulletin, so it comes out every Thursday. You get to see who the speaker is, who the musicians are, and everything else that's going on. So the healing clinics will be starting up again on March 12th, and Christy is leading that. So she will be back there if you want to sign up, if you want to look and see the various modalities and who is doing them. She will be able to tell you, and you'll be able to sign up for that. I mean, again, it's a very discounted way to experience some of these treatments. And I think, and of course, the beautiful part of that story was the gratitude that was woven through the theme of the story, wasn't it? And so we are grateful this morning to Claire for her beautiful channeled meditation, because that's what it felt like. To Gabriel and Angela, as always, for the music. For Kathy Evel and Carolyn Holman and Larry. For Dennis Casella and Linda Bacchetti are ushers. Christy Stevens is our chaplain. So if you want personal prayer right now, you can go into the prayer chapel after the service and she will pray with you. For Craig on sound, for Leslie on computer, and for Peter, who's helping out up there as well. Bookstore Rosie Doherty. And for this beautiful altar by Christy Stevens and Mary Jo Kim. It's her first time helping out. Thank you. It looks gorgeous. Yeah. Gorgeous, I tell you. Gorgeous. All right. Let's stand and pray and affirm our unity prayer. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, and I am, and all is well. We close with our closing song.
Peace in my life is growing because I choose love. Love's always present, it's what I'm made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one tie that binds us that can't be undone. I choose love. Peace in my family is growing because I choose love. Let love be present, it's what we're made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one loving family, sharing one sound. I choose love. Peace for our planet is growing because we choose love. Let love be present, it's what we're made of. We choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one. One choice unites us. Let this be the one. We choose love. We choose love. We choose love.
Happy Valentine's.